Real Talk with Jodi and Michal. Real friends, real situations, real life. Authentic chats from the heart to the gut. Two best friends keeping it raw, real, and relatable.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Jodi and Michal, where we have real conversations from the heart to the gut. Michal and I have been friends since we were 3, 4 years old and became even closer when we were teenagers. Got up to a little bit of mischief when we were teens. We've had super fun times together. And most importantly, we've had tons of deep, real conversations over the years of our friendship, which has partly contributed, right, Michal, to our creation of this podcast.
Yeah, well, both of us, it's interesting because our journey and people can see that, especially in our very first podcast, if you guys wanted to go back and listen to that. But our lives have not always, we haven't always like been in contact all the time since we were little, but our lives have come together in a strange way through crises. And well, they have, and you and I have supported each other through countless challenges in our lives. And
Yeah.
this is where it's not because we're deep, meaningful people. We have lots of fun. But we get to be having these deep, meaningful conversations. And you went into therapy and psychology, which again gave you a perspective. And I went into the alternative health world, into functional medicine, which gave me a totally different perspective. And it's interesting to go backwards and forwards with them because there's many things that we agree on, and there's some things that we have a totally different outlook on.
Yeah.
And the more we do this, actually, the more we discover even more facets of those. And I think everybody else with us is discovering it as well. So this is why your feedback, everyone who's listening, is so important because it gives us a different perspective too, and it opens up even more conversations.
Right,
Anyway,
exactly.
I'm going.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I love the constant mind-body connection between you being a nutrition consultant and me being a licensed marriage and family therapist and relationship coach, and the similarities and differences that come with that. And even on our podcast so far, we've talked about different things about life and societal influences and nutrition and relationships. And today, you and I were discussing, let's get more in depth this time about talking about understanding your world of nutrition. So you're
Awesome.
going to be in the hot seat today, if that's okay.
Bernie Bum. Um, cool. No, I'm happy to talk about it a lot. So I'm counting on you to keep me nice,
Okay.
nice and concise.
Okay, I will try to do that. I will try to do that because we've talked about also how you and I have different styles, different listening styles, different talking styles. Um, and the thing is, we've touched on nutrition and relationships, but because it's of interest to both of us throughout our podcasts. But there are questions that I sit with, like even as a layperson, and I'm hoping to get some of those questions answered today.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We can do a little bit of a little bit of backwards and forwards, even from a client coach or a client nutrition perspective as well. Just simply, it doesn't have to be me asking for a friend.
Yes, right, exactly. Well, why don't you first tell us how you would describe what you do as a nutrition consultant?
So I'm a nutritionist. I just legally, there's words that we are and aren't allowed to use because I'm not a dietitian. I didn't
Hmm.
go to school to study dietetics. I went to school to study nutrition, and they're quite different from each other. And that's way too much to get into in this conversation. I am in the functional medicine world, so that's an alternative form of therapy, and I create customized and personalized nutrition programs for groups and individuals to address health and lifestyle challenges. So it can be anything from losing weight to
Hmm.
dealing with cancer, to dealing with an autoimmune condition, to
Hmm.
simply wanting to focus on longevity or building muscle or living your best life. But whatever that is, I create these programs very, very customized
Okay.
for people depending on their goals,
Yeah.
their challenges, and their individual constitution. Now, I
So
do that for, I do that for groups as well in a more generalized form, teaching people how to customize for themselves. So a little bit of both.
yeah, so it sounds like you're saying, like one would normally think a nutritionist or nutrition consultant dieting, losing weight. So what it sounds like you're saying actually is it can be for losing weight, but it can also be for a particular health issue. It can be to stay well. It sounds like that as well. Just I want to be my optimal self. Okay. Okay, that's great. So when you see someone and if they were to say to you like what is the best piece of advice you could give to somebody regarding diet, nutrition, food, what would you say is like that one piece of nugget, best information?
Okay, so number one, it's simple, not easy, right? And there's a difference. Simple,
Okay.
not easy. But when people say to me, and I'm going to change that just a little bit, and people say to me, so what's the best diet, right?
Mm,
Is this diet or this label or that label? And my answer to that is a little bit cryptic. It's not direct. The best diet is the one that supports your goals
mm,
that you can and will follow. Now,
mm-hmm.
I can teach you, and part of the work that I do is teach you how to implement diet and lifestyle moving forward, right? There's a coaching element there. But the best diet is the one that will support your goals and that you will follow. Because if you will follow the Twinkie diet and just eat Twinkies morning, noon, and night, that's great.
Yeah.
But is that going to be supportive of your goals?
Okay.
Maybe, maybe not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we work with it. We start with that framework, and
Okay.
then we begin to whittle it down.
Okay. So how does a person know then what will be best for them to be able to stick to? Is it based on like would like if I was coming to you, would it be based on I tell you first what I like to eat or what I think? Or how do I know what's best for me?
So again, it often takes a lot of self-reflection and often working with somebody who can help you and support you because there is so much diet noise out there, so
Hmm.
much, and it's conflicting, and
Hmm.
it's it's almost by design because when we are confused, and you know this from a psychological perspective, when we have too many options or we're confused, we end up doing nothing,
Hmm.
or doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then you never know. So working with somebody, if you're not good at doing this yourself, is important. Number one, getting really clear on your goals. What do you want and why do you want it?
Hmm.
That's really important because you can say that you want something, but if your actions aren't in alignment with that, there's a disconnect, and we need
Hmm.
to find out why. And either we need to either shift the goal or we need to shift the behavior, one or the other. But you cannot continue to, and I'm just going to use losing 50 pounds as a very erroneous example. If you keep saying, I want to lose 50 pounds, I want to lose 50 pounds, I want to lose 50 pounds, and you're sitting on the couch eating Doritos,
Yeah.
right? Like, no. So there's some, and yes, there's many factors that go into the Doritos. There's food addiction and all of that. I get it. But there is a reason that the Doritos are more important to you than
Hmm.
50 pounds.
Hmm. I
And
mean, inherently, people are, I'm assuming, going to come to you having that conflict where they want something, but they're doing something different. No?
sometimes people simply don't know.
Ah,
I know
okay.
what I want, but I don't know, I'm doing everything right, or I've done everything in my knowledge to
Yeah.
try to get there, or I'm facing a challenge that I never expected to face ever, and I don't have this. Very similar to what you go through with your clients, right? I don't have the tools or the skills to
Mhm.
navigate through this minefield or through this forest.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say just for a second there, just when you say like what I've experienced, I often have clients who don't know they don't know they don't have the tools. So there's that other facet, that other layer. Anyway, so
I think, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there
oh,
for a
go
second.
ahead.
The difference is sometimes people are forced to come to me. I work with a doctor in a
Uh-huh,
clinic, and
uh-huh.
sometimes she tells them to come to me, and I can learn to whittle it out relatively quickly. I've been doing this now for almost 20 years. So
Mm-hmm.
it's long enough that I know. And from my perspective, working with somebody who doesn't want to at all
Yeah,
do anything
yeah,
is fruitless.
yeah.
So I will often say, I'm not the person. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
the person to help you. So in a way that's different. But
Yes.
for the most part, people who come and see me, both in my private practice and in my role as nutritionist on staff at a functional medicine clinic, people who
Mm-hmm.
come to see me come because they're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
struggling with something. They
Yes.
might not
So you're
know
giving
what or how.
support. You're giving a lot of support then as well. It sounds like it's mindset shifting and a lot of support that goes into it as well. It's not just here's a diet plan.
No, and what's interesting is in my work in the functional medicine world, often my boss, who's an amazing doctor, will say to the client, you need to, again, I'm just going to use an example, you need to remove all grains from your diet.
Uh-huh.
And that, I mean, she doesn't have time to sit and discuss what that looks like or
Yeah.
how to do that. Because sometimes if I say to you, Jodi, remove all grains from your diet, that's wheat, barley, rye, rice, corn, oats, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you're eating oatmeal for breakfast every morning and pasta for dinner, and you don't even know what's a grain. A corn is a grain,
Exactly.
not a vegetable. Like what's with that? And so they come to me and we sit down and we say, okay, let's look at what you're eating. Let's look at what we need to do. Maybe ripping the band-aid off and going cold turkey isn't appropriate for you. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
need to change things up a little bit. Let's get rid of certain ones first, or let's start to minimize and really work on your portion control and then get rid of it, right? Or let's give you some other tools to replace it much more effectively. Because if you've eaten oatmeal and toast for breakfast every morning for the last 10 years of your life, and I say, well, you can't have that anymore, your first question to me is most likely going to be, well, what am I going to have for breakfast?
100%.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, and there's loads of other breakfast options out
Yeah.
there, but it'll be, well, what am I going to have for breakfast?
Yeah, absolutely. And you were spot on where you're like, if you were to tell me eliminate grains, my mind would go to what's a grain? Like what or where are the grains that I don't realize that they are? 100%. Okay. So I love how individualized it is. I'm hearing how individualized it is when you work with someone, and I love that. And now when I think about different diets
Mm.
that, you talked about the confusion and the different diets that are out there, and you hear about the South Beach, I don't know, I might be dating myself. I don't know if these are still diets that are out there, but South Beach diet, the keto diet, and if I'm not mistaken, just from your and my side conversations, you advocate for a carnivore diet, or if I'm not saying it correctly, tell me what your thoughts are about eating meat.
So I am not a fan of meatless diets. And there are many reasons for that.
Mhm.
Bottom line is protein is amino acids, and getting our amino acids in sufficient quantity and
Mhm.
sufficient and appropriate ratio. It's not impossible, but it's unbelievably difficult if we
Mhm.
are not eating animal product. There is also many vitamins and minerals that you can only get in animal product. And again, not impossible, but unbelievably difficult to get from a meatless diet. The carnivore diet, which is a meat-only diet,
Mhm.
is appropriate in certain situations and is very effective for some people.
Okay.
I am more of a general mindset of optimizing your protein. And we really talk a lot about protein or amino acid optimization because when we're looking at the functioning of the body, everything about your body is amino acids. Protein, amino acids are life. Protein is life. And we need to eat some of it in order to be able to appropriately make most of it. So that's the diet that I focus on, and everything else is where we begin to play around. We customize depending on your goals, your needs, your concerns, your personal challenges, your constitution. And one of the things you said, interestingly, a little bit ago was this diet, that diet. And if you remember, I used my words quite specifically when I started. I create nutrition and lifestyle programs. When somebody works with me, my goal, and it's not always what happens, but my goal is number one, to establish a baseline, to build up on the baseline, and to teach you how to navigate the food world in the best way that suits you today, tomorrow, and for the rest of your life. So you're not following a diet. You're not on it or off it, which is terrible mentality.
Okay.
Right? You're not good or bad.
Yes.
There's some standards that you set for yourself about what you expect from your body and your life. And there's foods that are appropriate, more appropriate and less appropriate for that. And we learn how to navigate that world
So,
while optimizing your protein.
say that again about protein.
While optimizing your
Your
protein.
protein. And you know, that's something I learned from you a few years ago because I remember once telling you how I'm always so hungry. And you were like, you're not getting enough protein. And I was like, what? And I remember you told me like how much protein to eat, and it seemed like so much. But I got to tell you, best thing that I could have learned from you. I eat so much protein now, and it really helps me to be able to stay satiated because I get hungry really quickly for some reason.
Yeah, and that's again, right? If there's something that anybody wants to take away from this, and I'm going to give everybody a very actionable step. If you look at your ideal body weight, so not the weight you wish you were, not the weight that you are right now if you've got weight to gain or lose, but your actual ideal body weight, and there's many charts that can give you that very well online. If you look at your ideal body weight in pounds, you should be getting in an optimal, so not minimum amount. There's a minimum amount that you need to survive, and there's an optimal amount that you need to thrive. And as long as you are not pregnant or nursing, you are not severely ill, or you are not doing a lot of very intense weightlifting exercise. So muscle centric exercise. I'm not talking about riding your bike for 4 hours. I'm talking about like really like a bodybuilder type thing. Then your aim is to get between 0.8 and 1.0 grams of protein, animal protein. I'm talking about plant protein. Somebody would need to work with me. We'd have to work it out. Animal protein per pound of ideal body weight. So if you are a woman or a person whose ideal body weight is 150 pounds, you should be getting between 120 and 150 grams of protein per day. That's not grams of meat because it has other nutrients and other things in it. It's not grams of chicken, it's grams of protein. Now, that's a lot, right? That's a lot. 150 grams of protein very generally is around 24 ounces or 1.5 pounds of meat, chicken, fish, or eggs. It's a lot. So if somebody's coming from eating 30 or 40 or 50 grams of protein, and the RDA, which is the minimum amount that you need, is 54 grams of protein for a woman. It's barely enough to allow you to function.
That's far from what you've described because,
Absolutely.
yeah. Oh, wow.
So
So, yeah, that tells me that when I was surprised about how much protein that I needed to increase my protein, it's really not that I needed to have so much protein. It's that I was probably never having enough to begin with.
Absolutely. And what we don't understand is we've taken to believe, or just we assume, that the RDA is your optimal amount. It's not.
Mm.
The RDA was something developed around World War II to
Uh-huh.
prevent soldiers from starving. It's the minimum amount necessary
Minimum.
to prevent problems. And when it comes to protein, yes, there's a lot of research that it's just fine. But when I've worked with somebody, and I've worked with many, many people, as it's been a long time, hundreds of people, at least, when we optimize protein, people
Mm-hmm.
do better. You feel better. You are
Mm-hmm.
fuller. You sleep better. All
Mm-hmm.
the parts of your body simply look better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Weight loss, if you need to lose weight, weight loss is easier. Protein is very, very filling. Very, because we cannot store it. We store energy, which
Mm-hmm.
is fats or carbohydrates, fats or sugars, but we do not store protein, which is structure. So you need to eat it, and because we can't store it, the body has a lot of mechanisms in place to tell us when we've eaten enough.
Uh-huh.
Anybody who's ever eaten a huge steak or been to the Brazilian barbecue, there's a point in time where it's like hard stop. I can't. And you are full for a long time after that, and it's not good. It doesn't always feel good when you
Right.
overeat protein, right? Bodybuilders, and I use bodybuilders as an example because it's an extreme example.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them what it's like to overeat protein, because they have to, because they're trying to grow muscle, which is protein.
Yeah.
Right? They'll tell you it sucks.
Oh, really?
It
In
sucks.
terms of the discomfort, you mean? Because it just feels like too much?
They are nauseous. They have digestive issues because of it. It's very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy to overeat protein.
Okay.
Is the bottom. It's very easy to overeat chips, which are fats and carbs.
I know. And sugars and desserts. Why is it so easy to, and bread? Oh my gosh, I could just keep eating bread.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons for that. There's compounds in bread, and in gluten, one of the proteins in bread, that are very addictive. Bread also doesn't trigger any of those hormones that tell your body that you're full. So you don't feel full in your belly. Popcorn is a real example for people because, or chips, right? Because you can eat and eat and eat and eat, and your belly can be full. Like your belly is stretched, and all of those feelings are here, right? But there's nothing in your brain telling you to stop eating. So you continue to eat.
Really? That explains it? That's
Yeah. And we know that sugars often stimulate the appetite
Mhm.
more than they suppress the appetite, in certain ways. So the bread basket at a restaurant isn't
Mhm.
there to give you a little snack while you're waiting for your food. It's there by design. If you eat the bread, you're more likely to order dessert.
Interesting. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, because your appetite is much more stimulated. And there's a reason appetizers, for the most part, are fat and carbohydrate heavy, because fats and carbohydrates together, which is very rarely found in nature, right?
Okay.
Carbohydrates together, your body is like, whoa, what is this? Oh, give me more, because we still believe that we don't know where our next energy boost is coming from. That's our primitive genes still working. It's like,
Mhm.
this is like an energy bomb. Give me more. And you'll eat more. You'll end up eating.
Fats and carbs are not a good combo. Is that what you're saying?
Fats and carbs are the worst combo.
Really? So avocado on toast.
Yeah. How hungry are you after eating an hour or two after eating avocado on toast?
100% doesn't fill me whatsoever.
Enough
Oh
said.
my gosh. It makes so much sense.
Right. And how many pieces of avocado toast could you have if you went,
Yes.
right? It's like
Yes.
it's not the same. A bag of chips,
God.
a piece of pizza, right? How
Yeah.
easy is it to eat a 12-inch pizza, like at least half of it or three-quarters of it? It's not
Yeah.
not that difficult. We've all done it.
Yeah,
And you're not a big girl, and I'm not a big girl, and I've done it.
absolutely.
Doesn't feel
Yeah,
so good in the belly, but I've done.
right. Yeah, I can surprise myself eating a whole pizza.
Yeah, go to the Brazilian barbecue though, and try and eat beyond that point where, right? And that's it's interesting because one of the hormones that protein stimulates
Hmm.
is a hormone called GLP-1, which has
Oh,
become a big talk right now because all of the new weight loss drugs, the Ozempic and the Wegovy, those stimulate GLP-1. Now, of course, significantly more in like exponentially more than protein would, but that's how they work. Now, there's many of those hormones. We have many of them in our gut. GLP-1 is just one of them. But yeah, but protein does, and protein stimulates most of them. But yeah, so just interesting fact. So optimizing your protein is good for your brain. It's good for your bones. It's good for your heart. Meat is not bad for your heart. We can do that on another podcast if people really want. Um, but it
yeah.
is not cholesterol in food is not a big impact on the cholesterol in your blood in any way whatsoever, which is why you hear eat eggs, don't eat eggs, eat eggs, don't
Yes,
eat eggs,
yes. I
eggs,
was going to
eggs.
ask about that. That's exactly what it made me think about. So, what is the thing with eggs? Which is it?
Eggs, eat eggs. The cholesterol that you eat has
Yeah.
very little, if any, impact on the
Hmm.
cholesterol in your blood. Your
Wow.
liver makes cholesterol every single day.
Mm.
If you eat it, your liver makes less of it. Your brain needs cholesterol. If you have too little cholesterol, you will get dementia. Your brain will stop working. It is not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Every single hormone in your body, from thyroid hormone to cortisol to your reproductive hormones, estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, aldosterone, testosterone, all of them require cholesterol. There's a reason that when you're on cholesterol lowering drugs, especially men,
Mhm.
one of the drugs that they usually have to take together is Viagra, because without cholesterol, you can't make testosterone.
Oh, wow. I mean, that shows how research has changed over time, where we used to think eggs were bad for you, and how important it is to be able to be educated and know the newest of research that is
Well,
accurate.
this is going to be very controversial, and as I said, it's a big rabbit hole. But
Mhm.
cholesterol was always a theory. It's been a theory since the 1950s and the 1960s. And scientists have spent, and the anti-meat lobby has spent since then, which is the last 70 years,
Mhm.
trying to prove that theory.
Wow. And
Theory has been disproved
uh-huh.
many times, but there is such a strong belief in the theory that it has been repeated so many times that it is now just spoken of as fact. And there's a lot of that in our world in many different ways. And we
Mhm.
know that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But the cholesterol heart hypothesis is a
Has
big
always
one. Now,
been.
when your cholesterol is too high, in context, there's a big context there. It is problematic.
Okay.
Yes, but there is context. And again, way more than I want to get into today, but
Yeah.
there is context. So this is why the diet world is so difficult to navigate because of things like eggs are good, eggs are bad, cholesterol is going to kill you, salt
Mhm.
is going to kill you. Yet
Mhm.
you can't live without cholesterol and you can't live without salt. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so right? And that way, all this confusion is analysis paralysis. And then we end up doing nothing and eating all the things anyway. And
Hmm.
that's a very good business model. It's a great business model if you've got a food company.
Yeah, I was going to say for the food industry,
It's
it
a
is.
great model for the drug companies. It's
Uh,
great, right? They
yeah.
have lots of illnesses to cure and lots of imbalances to try and rebalance.
Yeah.
But it's not great for us because we as society are the ones that struggle. We're the ones that feel they don't feel well. And if you look at our health over the last 50 years specifically,
Mhm.
right, it's definitely deteriorated. If you think about the difference between, when we were in high school together and what people looked like and how they behaved, and that was the very beginning of the low fat diet craze and the low cholesterol diet craze, and when carbohydrates really increased in our diet. And look at the difference between all of those people that we were in high school with, their parents or even our parents, and those people now who are probably about the same age or a little older than their parents were when we were in high school. Like rates of cancer, rates of diabetes, all through the roof. Through
Mhm.
the roof. It's a big deal.
So part of what you said earlier seems to be part of the solution is having a lifestyle change that you stick to. So it's not, I think you said you stay away from the word diet. It's it's more about nutrition and lifestyle, developing a lifestyle that is healthy that you can keep up with. That is important.
Yes. And one of the things that I do with people is teach them how. Does this mean you can never eat chocolate cake again? No.
Mhm.
Does it mean you shouldn't be eating chocolate cake every night? Yes. Let's
Mhm, mhm.
let's chocolate cake every single night in your diet. Chocolate cake is not a food, it's entertainment for your tongue.
I love that.
And we learn to navigate the difference and understand.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that, I call it Netflix for your tongue, is what I call it.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
not to say that Netflix for your tongue is bad, but you don't need to have Netflix every single minute of
Every
every.
day. Yeah, so it's don't have it all the time. It's about watching, eating healthily, lifestyle change, and not having the things that are not good for you too often, something like that. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you and I have had a conversation before about moderation, and
Mhm.
I do not like that word at all, because what is moderation,
So
right?
this is the thing. If you have, like you just said, not great to have Netflix for your tongue every day, but if you have a piece of chocolate cake periodically, isn't that moderation?
Well, yeah, but what's periodically for you and what's periodically for me? And
Well,
what's
not
periodic?
every day, certainly not every day.
Yeah, very specifically, what is periodically for you and what is periodically for, if not every day, does that mean every second day? Does that mean every third day?
What would it be? Would it be depending on the person and what their body can tolerate and what's healthy for them?
So yes and no, because there's many layers to that,
Mhm,
right? If you have something that's incredibly, incredibly pleasurable, and you
mhm,
know this from a psychological perspective, that releases dopamine, right? The more you have, the more you want, and the
mhm.
more it takes to give you the same pleasure response.
Oh, that sounds like addiction.
To some degree, and this is where the concept of food addiction is this gray area that people debate and scream and shout and shout about. There is no such thing, but there is. And there are certain foods, and everybody's food might be different, but there are
Hmm.
certain foods that do that to certain people. So, how do you deal with addiction? The best way to deal with addiction, for the most part, is abstinence. So
Hmm.
maybe your safe dose and
Hmm.
your moderation for a specific food is zero.
For a specific food, right? Yeah, but unrealistic to think someone will never have dessert ever again.
Again, so if you're type 2 diabetic
Yeah.
and you are not well, or type 1 if you have an illness
Hmm.
that it can really affect your life,
Hmm.
it's something to consider, right?
Hmm.
Is right. Think of it as a heroin addiction, right?
Hmm.
Tell a heroin addict, well, maybe some heroin addicts can have a little bit every now and then. No, right? So it's very individual and it takes a lot of work to identify. Now, there's also personality traits that come in with that, because
Hmm.
some of us are able, for some reason, to moderate our dopamine response better. So
Uh-huh.
having a little bit of something,
Is enough.
whatever once in a while,
Yeah.
work out what once in a while is for you. Maybe
Yeah.
a glass of wine on a Saturday night. Just
Mm-hmm.
as an example, a
Mm-hmm.
glass of wine on a Saturday night really just allows you to stick with everything wonderfully through the week.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Some people can do that. Right. Right.
And it's actually supportive. And we call that a buffer food or a buffer concept. It's something that's not the best for you, it's not the worst for you,
Uh-huh.
and it helps you stick to it.
Okay.
Diet soda is another one of those. That's again much contested, but we work with people around that. Some people can't have diet soda at all. It sends, right? Some people, it actually helps them stick to their diet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have that. But then there's some people who, you know what? I don't just want a glass of wine. I want to sit with my, I want to have the whole bottle and I want to have it on Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday night. Well, maybe at least for an extended period of time, it's best to go without the wine. And then maybe after an extended period of time, you can try and see if you're able. And you might be
Mm-hmm.
able. But again, being aware, and this is the work that I do, right? Being aware that not only is it a slippery slope, but it's a
Yeah.
steep slope. And you can get
Mm-hmm.
back to where you were really, really fast. So you need to be particularly mindful about that. And then there's a whole other concept, is especially when we're dealing with chronic illness, and chronic illness is a lifestyle issue. Chronic illness, you don't catch high blood pressure,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't catch type 2 diabetes. You don't
Yeah.
catch obesity, right? Although I used to say, do you remember I used to say when we were young that I used to catch pimples from a boy that I
I
knew?
do remember that. That's so funny. You were convinced every time you saw him that you got pimples from him. Yeah.
Yeah, he had quite bad skin. But anyway, I digress. You don't catch those diseases. They develop over a period of time. They're a lifestyle disease. What made you sick once
Mm-hmm.
will make you sick again. You
Yeah.
don't,
For that particular person is what you're saying.
yeah,
Something
but there tends to be a cluster of things that make people sick.
commonly make people sick. Is that what you're saying? Are you talking about are you talking about food
I'm
or
talking about food and lifestyle, both.
food and lifestyle choices?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes me think about, is there like a most common mistake that you see people making when it comes to food and nutrition?
A
Or
couple. May I mention a couple, or do you?
I was just gonna say, or if there's one or two or three,
Okay.
yeah,
So number
absolutely.
one, we've spoken about not optimizing your protein, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Number two, people are going to not like me for this, snacking. Snacking is a death sentence. You need
Oh,
time to eat and you need
yes.
time to digest and assimilate and for things to be calm and to not eat. And this
Hmm.
consistent and constant eating all
Hmm.
day from morning to night, and
Hmm.
that's what most people do, is
Hmm.
very detrimental to your health and
Hmm.
to your waistline.
Can I ask you what you mean by consistent? Like,
Not
what do you
eating more than 3 times a day.
really? Why is it not good for you?
Because we need to eat and we need to not eat. And your body doesn't break down, assimilate, and absorb your nutrients while you're
Yeah.
eating.
So
And
you're saying big meals are better?
I'm saying meals, yes, the whole snacking thing, the whole 6 meals a day,
Yeah.
about when we reduced our protein, increased our carbohydrate, our satiety went down, so we were always hungry, right?
Hmm.
Because carbohydrate needs to be used or stored within 2 or 3 hours. So every
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours, your body's saying, "Where's my energy?"
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And we never learn to access our own energy. We never feel satiated enough so that our body even wants to access its own energy.
Hmm.
So yeah. So if you think about even when we were young, we didn't
Hmm.
snack.
No, that's true. We didn't.
We
That
did.
is actually so true.
And what happened? And if you were little, if you think about it, what happened if you said to your mom before dinner, "Mommy, I'm hungry"? She'd
They would
say,
say, "Wait for dinner," even if
"Wait
it means
a minute."
waiting an hour.
It'll
Yeah.
ruin your appetite. And if
Yeah.
you like what was for dinner, mommy would say to you, "Too bad, so sad," right? you can wait till breakfast in the morning.
True, they
And
just were
after
not
dinner,
snacks enough.
there wasn't a late night snack.
Yeah,
You had your dinner. So if you didn't eat your dinner and you were hungry 2 hours later, tough luck.
you would be just fine.
Yeah,
Interesting. So 3 meals, are you advocating for 3 meals a day or more than that?
2 to 3. Two
Two
to
to
three is optimal. Again,
three.
it takes work, but 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, about 5 hours apart, a nice
Okay.
space between dinner and your first meal of the day. Doesn't matter if your first meal of the day is at 6 a.m. or at 10 a.m. I don't care,
Yeah.
right? It's that again, working with somebody in something that'll fit with their lifestyle. But
Yeah.
but really, and understanding that, so number one is protein.
Yes.
Number two is snacking and being distracted when we eat. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Being
We're
distracted.
driving and eating in the car, your brain isn't registering that you're eating.
Yeah. Is it because your brain doesn't register that you're getting full? Is that the problem with
Brain
that?
doesn't even register that you're eating because when you eat, you need to be in a parasympathetic state. It's called rest and digest for a reason.
So if your body or brain doesn't realize you're eating, what is the negative consequences? What happens?
Well, all of that, all of those nutrients don't get, they get stored much quicker. So it's stored as fat as opposed
Wow.
to,
So you can actually gain weight more if your brain isn't registering that
yeah,
you are eating.
yeah, absolutely. And this is how
Blow my mind on that one.
you can be overfed and undernourished. So you can
Oh,
have 1,000,002 nutrition deficiencies,
yeah.
be significantly overweight. And people don't
Hmm.
understand that, but that's how, is that your body isn't appropriating its nutrients properly. And there's
That
many reasons why, and that's one of them.
Michal, this has been fascinating. I have learned so much out of all the conversations. I mean, you and I have had tons of conversations about all sorts of things, including food and nutrition, just over the years. But this has been amazing
Wow.
to hear those questions that I've wondered about, and I'm going to assume that most of our audience has these same kinds of questions, because I'm asking these as a layperson. These are the things I wonder about.
I get it. Now, I want to add one more thing to the list because
Go
you
for
said,
it.
and it's move your body. People don't move enough. And I'm not talking about sitting on your ass all day and then going to the gym and running on the treadmill for an hour. That
Yeah.
the one doesn't negate the other. It's
Okay.
literally moving your body. And one of the best things that you can do, the best things you can do for yourself is after you've eaten,
Yeah.
get up
Go for a
and
walk.
go for a walk, a nice slow walk.
Mm,
It doesn't need to be a lot, but
yeah.
a nice slow walk. And again, if you think about when we were little, and I know my grandparents used to do it a lot, is what would we do after dinner? We'd go for a walk,
That's so true.
right? Move your body regularly throughout the day. Sitting
Yeah.
is the new smoking. It is killing us. And when you sit, the way that your digestive system, the bottom of your digestive system, of your large intestine moves, your
Yeah.
bowel, and your anus specifically, it actually causes constipation
Interesting.
because it tilts. So where this is a little bit of an anatomy lesson, but your anus goes down.
Yeah.
The gravity helps you when you want to poop. And
So,
when you're sitting, it tilts it this way. So the poop doesn't go down. So it kind of stays there and like
so
gets.
this is something I've wondered and I've looked up, but I've gotten contradictory information. Is it like, I know we sit when we eat, and I'm not saying we must stop sitting when we eat, but is it better to stand and eat then or
No,
no?
no, because you want to be in a relaxed state. But
Ah,
about ancestrally, what we did, we used to squat more.
ah,
Squatting, when you like really get down
yeah,
into squat,
yeah,
squatting tilts your bum in a different way.
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Sitting,
I hear
right?
you.
But we sit and eat, it's fine. So because what are you going to do after you eat? You're going to get up and you're going to go for a walk.
A
Now,
walk.
you're not
Yeah,
pooping at the same time as you're eating, and the food
yeah,
that you're eating doesn't become poop in 5 seconds.
yeah,
But yeah, so it's a balance, right? It's not never sit.
yeah.
You're right. It's about don't sit and don't simply sit for hours and hours and hours.
Mm-hmm.
Really important to get up and move. And one of the best ways to get up and move is after a meal.
Is after a meal. That's amazing, just advice that people can start to implement right away, even, right? Increase protein. Um, go for a walk after you've eaten and have protein filled
Bigger,
meals without snacking.
bigger meals. But if you are ever going to choose to eat,
Mhm.
don't ever eat carbohydrate or carbohydrate and fat alone. Always eat them with some protein.
Oh, wow, Michal, this has been amazing, amazing. Before we wrap up, is there any last bit of information that you feel you haven't shared with us that you want to add?
Well, I think those last 3 points are the biggies because they're takeaway. And I want everybody to remember that 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. And if that feels very overwhelming right now,
Yeah.
for many people it is. I always say it doesn't mean that you have to eat that amount tomorrow. Start slowly. Build up. If you're eating 50, build up to 70. If you're
Mm-hmm.
eating 70, get to 90 or 100. 100 grams of protein for most women
Yeah.
is a safe amount
Okay.
to kind of toggle at. As I said, when you're working with somebody, we can really look at optimization. But even
Mm-hmm.
if you can get 100 grams of protein a day, divided by 3 meals, that's 33 grams of protein per meal. That's
That's a
gen-
lot more
not
manageable.
that much. It's around five
Yeah. When
ounces
you
ish.
divide it out by 3 meals, it sounds more manageable. And I love that approach as well, is where start with what you can. Don't feel overwhelmed by, I can never do this, but start somewhere.
Somewhere you got to start, right? And it's a practice, not a perfect.
I love it. I love it. I live
You
by
learn
those. Hmm.
I learn something about myself every single day. You learn something about yourself. We do all the time.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
Okay, so Nicole, where can people go to learn more about you and find out about your
So
services?
people can go to my website, michalalpha.com, and there's a contact form there. You can fill that out if you wanted to set up a discovery call with me, and that way we can chat for about 20 minutes, talk about what your needs are and see how working together would be beneficial for you specifically. I'll tell you about my programs and what's involved with working together. I'm also very active. I'm not the best social media person when it comes to Instagram, although I've tried, but I am very active on Facebook. I post a long form article every single day, and I have for many, many years. So there's tons of information on my Facebook page, which is Michal Offer Lifestyle and Wellness. And if you look up my name, Michal Offer, on Facebook, you'll see me there. You'll see my Facebook page there. Give me a follow, say hi, and join in on the conversations. You will learn. There's a lot to learn simply by reading. Working together makes it simpler. But if you want to do it on your own, my Facebook page would provide you with everything else. I have a blog on my website, which gives a lot of that information too. But the Facebook page is even better. And remind people how to find you too before we finish.
Oh,
Simply,
sure.
you know,
Yeah, sure. I can be found on Facebook. My name, Jodi Greenblatt, Jodi Greenblatt Coaching. I have a Facebook group which is gives you free access to tips, tools, and trainings about relationships. And the name of my group is Empower Her Transformation, Breaking Free from Toxic Relationships. And I recently started on TikTok as well, Jodi Greenblatt Coaching. Yeah, I'm having fun with TikTok.
you are having fun with TikTok. You can see that. You can see that when you see the videos. All right. And as always, tell us your comments, ask us your questions, give us your suggestions. We're very open. This podcast is as much about you as it is about us.
Yep.
And our goal is to create community. So, and remember to like, remember to subscribe, because that's what will allow you to see when a new episode drops, and it helps us make more content for you.
Love it. So good to speak to you, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thanks, Jodi. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
Bye, guys.